are you so sure he'll come after you?
Because I took something from him he can never have back.
Knock him off track. When you step in, you could bleed in a second. Kid took a little second to reload up all the weapons.
Time to go terrorize the devil. Claudia. I finally figured out a way for us to bury the hatchet. Come along. Put the gun down, Claudia.
You killed Liliana.
I did. I killed Liliana!
But this is for my friend.
Welcome back, Top Notch Gang, to another video, and this episode was a fucking banger. Probably the best episode of the entire season so far, and that's crazy to say because we've been saying D-Mac has been carrying this season and he wasn't even in the entirety of this episode. So we're gonna go ahead and break down season 3 episode 5 of Power Book 4 Force. We have so much to dive into. My nigga Tommy finally getting his revenge for Liliana. Get back, don't got an expiration date, takes out Claudia within this episode. We also got Mireya. Come to find out she's pregnant. I actually want to talk more about that because we know how these pregnancy storylines and Power goes. The baby never happens. I'm hoping they actually decide to change that for once. We also got to break down and talk about Jannard and Diamond going behind Tommy's back, taking out the Yardies, setting up a meeting with Che. That's possibly setting up a future alliance that I told you guys with Tommy and Shanti that they're actually gonna click up and she's not gonna want to take him out in the future. Who knows? We'll talk about that. But also Vic finally making a play, making a move against Tommy once and for all. Like I said, a lot we have to break down. You guys could go ahead, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's go ahead and get right into it. So we got to start off with Tommy finally taking out Claudia. Of course, this has been a long time coming since the finale way back in season 1 of Book 4. We of course know Claudia ended up taking out and killing Liliana, and Tommy let it be known right then and there whoever did it was gonna catch a bullet. And he was telling her that multiple times in season 2, went to talk to her and said, hey, it's gonna come a time, a day, a place that I'm gonna eliminate you. And when she became partners with the Marquez cartel and she started talking big shit, he told her, you gotta be lucky every day of your life. I just gotta be lucky once. And of course we know he then goes on to set her up at the end of season 2, and he gets her, or tried to have her, get killed in jail, but the hitter didn't pull the shit off. So of course Claudia survived, and now we saw in the last episode she was released because she told Stacey Marks, hey, only way I'm gonna be able to help you get Tommy is if you let me out of jail. So she lets her out and they make a deal. Give us Tommy, give us the Marquez cartel, you're good to go. Vic lets Tommy know that Claudia is out, and he immediately sets his plan into motion to take her out. That's the only thing that was on his mind this entire episode, that Jannard, Diamond, everybody else was basically able to go behind his back and make moves on their own without him even knowing. But to focus on this first and foremost, him and Vic, I ain't gonna lie, they was running shit this episode. Tommy set up a meetup with him and Claudia initially to see what she was gonna do. Of course, he knew she brought the feds with her. They was recording him. He peeped that shit from a mile away. But him and Vic, of course, are working together against Stacey Marks, and he's the one who donated money to her funding for her to become mayor. Then on top of that, he asked Vic what is the thing that made him flip in the first place, and of course it was that kill way back in season 1 when Tommy first got there with the art gallery girl, everything like that. Tommy goes to her, pays her money, gets her to record a video saying Stacey basically coerced her to point out Vic in a lineup, and he goes and extorts and blackmails Stacey Marks. Now he has the future mayor working under him. She has no choice but to do what he says, and she kind of has to let Vic off the hook as well. She's mad about this, and she decides to go tell Claudia, fuck the whole plan of bringing out Tommy, just kill him. get rid of him, because who's gonna care anyway? That's the best case scenario for both of us, because I don't want to work for that motherfucker. So Claudia's like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna take him out. I was wanting to do that shit anyway. And Stacy gives her a plan to how she could sneak into Tommy's house. Now unfortunately for her, Tommy went to her girlfriend and found out all the plans of what Claudia was gonna do, and he was right there waiting, prepared. Of course, Claudia not going down without a fight though. They get to a shootout. She finally admits to killing Liliana, even though Tommy knew her ass already did it, and she catches a bullet for it. And I like the dialogue he gave her at the end, because it's kind of true. Talks about how he respects her, how she's the best friend, better than her scumbag brother. You know he don't like him because he a snitch, and you know he don't like her father. Her father was on some other shit in the last 2 seasons. That's why Vic had to take him out. But then he says this for Liliana, and he officially eliminates her finally. And I felt like they only left her alive so that he could do the personal deed himself, because I didn't see no reason they didn't just kill her at the end of season 2. But here we are. It was way more satisfying this way, in my opinion. Next up, we have Mireya and her pregnancy. Now for this one, I'm going to talk about pregnancies within Power as a whole, because every single Power show, from the original to Force, obviously, to Raising Kanan, to Buck Ghost, all of them had pregnancy. Obviously, if we go back to OG Power, we of course know Tommy got Holly pregnant, and of course she didn't tell him because he had to go and kill Ghost. So for her to feel safe, she put a hit out on Ghost herself, and he basically passed out, clicked out, and just choked her ass up and killed her before finding out that she was pregnant. Of course, Tasha later told him, so he never knew she was pregnant by the time it was revealed to him. Then of course we go to Raising Kanan. They had 2 pregnancies in that show, obviously, with Rock getting pregnant by Unique. I believe at the end of season 3 she thought he was dead, so got an abortion at the beginning of season 4 because she didn't think he was coming back. And of course we know she had the conversation with Jukebox about how she could have loved him, everything of the sort, all that never ended up coming back out once she got the abortion. That was that. We also know that Crystal was pregnant by Kanan, and she ended up getting an abortion. They just skipped over that as well. Said she got an abortion in season 4. Kind of happened exactly like the Rock situation, so they didn't do the baby and shit then either. Then of course we know in Book Ghost, we know in the last season Diana was pregnant, and this the first time they actually, both parties fully, well, not both parties knew about it with Kanan and Crystal, but both parties knew about it. They planned on keeping it, but of course because of the life they was in, it was an outsider that actually caused them to lose the baby. The dirty cop beat up Diana, she lost the baby, all of them went and got their revenge, all that. She was trying to make another baby with Tariq. She was wilding, but pregnancy storylines never work in Power. I say all that to say that maybe this time it could actually possibly be different with Mireya. Now I don't like that once again they put off her telling him that she's pregnant, because he killed Claudia in his loft. So when she came back to the house and was ready to tell him all this and that, she saw the bullet holes, she saw all the blood, and realized the life they're living once again, and decided not to tell him, which is fucking stupid, because the best case scenario is to tell him so he could fix it or do better, something. But I hate that they do this shit. But maybe they finally decide to keep the baby, because we know Tommy is leaving Chicago after this. Maybe this is what ends his beef with Miguel. We always wondering why they decide to team back up. Maybe she announces it to Tommy and Miguel when they go on, I'm gonna make another video on this weekend, but she announces it to them when they go on their little dinner date or whatever that he set up in the last episode, and he told Ortega over the phone that that's when they're gonna get the opportunity to kill Tommy. Maybe that's when he decides to tell, or when she decides to tell both of them they're fighting or something, and she just yells it out, announces it to get them to settle their differences, and that's why he saves Tommy from getting killed by Ortega and the Marquez cartel, and that's why we see them teaming up later, because they're basically family now at this point. So that makes a lot of sense. I think they're actually going to decide for him to keep the baby, especially once again if he's leaving Chicago. I think this is the best option for him going forward. And if they ever end Power, I know they say Power never ends, if they ever decide to end Power, I feel like this is the best case scenario for Tommy, because once again he was gonna have a baby with Holly, ended up killing her. He was gonna marry Lakeisha, and she had, of course, Cash as a kid. Of course, Tasha killed her, and now this is kind of like his third chance at a happy ending and having a baby, and him and Mireya. I think that's the best case scenario for whenever they finally decides to put a wrap on Power as a whole. I already know him and Tariq getting another show, but nonetheless, I think this is the best case scenario that I hope they finally just don't throw away at pregnancy storylines, because I feel like they just put it in for extra drama but don't ever really do anything with it. But once again, I'm gonna make a full video on this as well, because I have a lot more thoughts and opinions, but this section is getting long as hell. Now we got Jannard and Diamond going behind Tommy's back, and this was kind of small, but I think it's gonna have future problems and implications on the breakup of the coalition, the fall of CBI, everybody choosing sides, and I think that's what leads to Shanti and Tommy teaming up, and there's a lot of clues that's hinting towards this. So first off, this is connecting way back to the very first episode of Book Force. When Tommy first got to Chicago, he was with Vic and Jannard. They killed these random white boys. Now we're learning they were part of the Yardies. They finally decided to spin a block fucking 2 seasons later, and they killed this dude in a wheelchair that was part of CBI. So of course they wanted to go get revenge. Jannard like, fuck that, we're not telling Tommy nothing, what do you want to do? Now Diamond initially is like, okay, let's try to get them to join the coalition. Alright, he's setting it up as a plan to put them in it, everybody team up, work together, it's all good. But when they go to the meetup, I ain't gonna lie, these niggas was talking crazy shit. I'm glad they smoked these niggas, but nonetheless, they give them the product, they let them test it out, they say we good, they put their guns down, CBI put their guns down first, and then the Yardies go ahead, put their guns down, everything good. But then it was like, but this motherfucker right here, the one who's talking crazy shit, talking reckless at the mouth, he was also the one who spent and killed the nigga in CBI. He was like, but he gotta go, and it was like, nah, that wasn't part of the deal. And Diamond was like, well, y'all should have played ball. He had some other shooters pop up out the cut because these niggas was unarmed at this point, and they basically eliminated their whole squad in one go. Now of course they had to go and report this back to Che. He said he didn't want no war or anything like that, and this time he finally decided to bring Jannard. We know Jannard has been begging to come with him this entire season because he told Shanti he was gonna get an in with Diamond so that they could have a route to the connect. So he finally told him he could come with him to meet Che, and Jannard was about to text Shanti, but he decided not to. Now of course that's important because their relationship has already been on and off this entire season. We've seen Shanti talk about how she might have crowned him as her king too early, and she wants to start making her own moves, and we know he fucked up her relationship with the Mellow Racks girl, I believe was her name. I can't even remember what her name was, but nonetheless, he robbed her like a season ago or something like that. He did go give her a chain back in the last episode and smooth up their relationship, but then he told her that him and Diamond was coming up with a plan to save D-Mac and convince King Kilo that D-Mac didn't kill what's his name was Mad Dog. So she was looking at him crazy once again, realizing their plans and ideas aren't really aligning with one another. He's also been lying to her, saying that he's gonna be prepared to take out Diamond when he just knows that shit's not true. So a wedge is already continuing to build between them. So of course him, Diamond, Jannard, that is, go and meet Che. They say basically, hey, we killed the Yardies, but now we took their territory, you could give us even more product and make you even more money. So he's fine with them dropping all the bodies, it's cool, it's whatever. But Tommy doesn't find out about all this, and he don't even find out about the meetup with the Che. He finds out they took out the Yardies from Shanti because he calls Diamond to come get the Claudia body. Diamond doesn't pick up, meeting with Che obviously, and then he calls Shanti for help. We know they've been a dynamic duo since the beginning. She was the one he called to help set up, of course, Claudia in the last season, and when she was in jail they was on the phone together, and of course Claudia tried to get them both taken out earlier this season by the Marquez cartel, and he saved her life. So she kind of owed this man nonetheless, but we're gonna get to that later. But he calls her to move the Claudia body, and she's the one who tells him that Diamond and Jannard took out the Yardies and that they're brothers, they're always gonna look out for each other first and foremost, and that gets him to start thinking. I think alliance between Shanti and Tommy, it's what I want, but I do think they're hinting towards it as well, and they could see it coming. Because also we did get a sneak peek and a clip of Shanti once again warning Tommy, and I was wondering if this happened in the first half of the season, when was it gonna take place? And we see her warning him, which if she still wanted him dead, she probably wouldn't do at all. And we also know there's a clip of Jannard telling them that it's time basically for everybody to choose a fucking side. So that's coming relatively soon. We got to see how it all plays out, but lines are being drawn in the sand, and I love to see Shanti and Tommy continue to team up. Honestly, my favorite characters are Tommy, D-Mac, and Shanti, so as long as they winning, I'm cool with it. Overall though, that's it for this video. Like I said, best episode of the season. You could tell they really putting in like a crescendo, and it's going up and up and up as the season continues. And it was honestly so much more I could have talked about, but y'all don't know how much I cut out these videos because I feel like I'm wasting y'all time. I be trying to get to the point as fast as fucking possible. But I didn't even talk about Vic. Of course, Miguel was in this episode, and neither was D-Mac. So this video could have easily been 30 to 40 minutes if fucking them two was in it, and if I left Vic part in. But like I said, I'm trying to speed through it, and for Vic, we really didn't get enough information. But these other categories, it's a lot we have to talk about. And with the episode 6 preview, this shit is looking like it's gonna be crazy, and it's feeling like they're gonna do a break or a finale break, like a 1-2 week break coming after episode 6 or 7, depending on how they end. I feel like it's just coming. It feels like it's inevitable at this point with how they're building up this season as we go on. But you guys, as usual, can leave your thoughts and opinions on this episode down below. Any predictions, predictions for the rest of the season, character alliances you want to see form, any betrayals you see coming, leave that all down below in the comments. Be on the lookout for some videos this weekend, but I'm out.